The Galactic Hegemony ship Eternal Vigilance drifted silently through the darkness of space, its sensors sweeping across the vast emptiness of the Orion Arm. The vessel's sleek, metallic hull gleamed under the distant starlight, its shape unlike anything built by human hands. Commander Tak stood on the bridge, his tall, slender form towering over the other officers as they monitored their stations. "Commander," called out Officer Jin from the sensor array, his voice tight with excitement. "We've detected an unknown vessel at coordinates 227 to 4589. Tak moved swiftly to the main view screen, his four-fingered hand brushing across the control panel. The screen flickered to life, showing a distant point of light moving against the star field. "Magnify," he ordered, his voice calm despite the tension filling the bridge. The image zoomed in, revealing a ship of unfamiliar design. It was smaller than the Eternal Vigilance with a bulky central section and two extending wings that housed what appeared to be propulsion systems. No markings that matched any known hegemony species. "It appears to be a new species," said Science Officer Rim, her eyes wide as she analyzed the incoming data. "Their technology suggests early interstellar capability." Tak nodded slowly. The hegemony had encountered 17 different species during its 5,000 years of exploration. Some had joined the Alliance. Others had been deemed too primitive or too dangerous for contact. This would be the 18th first contact in hegemony history. "This is a diplomatic vessel," Tak reminded his crew. "We will follow first contact protocol. Approach with caution, but show no aggression." The Eternal Vigilance moved forward, its engines humming softly as it closed the distance to the unknown ship. Tak ordered their universal translator to prepare for communication. "Establish contact," he commanded. Officer Min, the communications specialist, sent out the standard greeting message across all common frequencies. For several moments, there was nothing but silence. Then a response came. The view screen changed to show the bridge of the other vessel. The beings there looked surprisingly similar to several hegemony species, though with only 2 arms and legs, and skin that ranged from pale to dark brown. They wore matching blue uniforms with insignia that likely denoted rank. One figure stood in the center of their bridge, shorter than Tak, but with an air of authority. "This is Captain Park of the United Earth Ship Thunderchild *, the figure said. "We come in peace." The translation matrix processed the unknown language, converting it to standard hegemony speech. But something went wrong in the complex equations of linguistic analysis. In the hegemony's primary dialect, the phrase "we come in peace" was properly translated. But the translator also picked up another phrase from the human captain's subordinates: "We stand ready." In hegemony culture, this particular phrase had only one meaning: a declaration of combat readiness. It was what warriors said before engaging in battle. Officer Rim frowned. "Commander, their language contains contradictions. They claim peace but declare combat readiness." Tak's 4 hearts beat faster. The hegemony had encountered deceptive species before, ones that claimed peaceful intentions while preparing ambushes. The last such encounter had cost thousands of lives. "Monitor them closely," Tak ordered. "Prepare defensive systems, but do not activate them unless I command." On the human vessel, Captain Park was reviewing the first contact procedures with her first officer. Standard protocol calls for shields to be raised during all first contact scenarios. The officer reminded her, "Just as a precaution." Park nodded. "Raise shields, but keep weapons powered down. We don't want to appear threatening." The Thunderchild hummed as its defensive shields activated, creating a barely visible blue shimmer around the hull. On the Eternal Vigilance alarms suddenly blared. "Commander," shouted the tactical officer, "they're activating energy fields. Our sensors detect power buildups consistent with defensive and possibly offensive systems." Tak's eyes narrowed as he watched the human ship shimmer with energy. The contradiction in their message followed by this action confirmed his worst fears. These humans were following the deceptive tactics that had nearly destroyed a hegemony fleet 3 centuries ago. They're charging weapons, Tak declared, his normally calm demeanor cracking under the pressure. Fire preemptively. Target their weapons systems. But, Commander, Officer Min protested, our readings are inconclusive. It may just be defensive. I will not risk this vessel or the security of the hegemony. Tak cut him off. Fire. The Eternal Vigilance unleashed a barrage of energy weapons, the bright purple beams cutting through space and striking the human vessel. The Thunderchild's shields flared brilliantly as they absorbed the attack, but several beams penetrated, slicing through the hull. On the Thunderchild's bridge, chaos erupted as consoles exploded and emergency sirens wailed. We're under attack, shouted the tactical officer. Multiple hull breaches on decks 4 through 7. Captain Park gripped her command chair, her face ashen as damage reports flooded in. Casualties. 17 confirmed dead, Captain. 29 injured. Park's expression hardened. She had attempted peaceful first contact, following all protocols established by Earth's Space Command. And this was the response. Unprovoked aggression that had killed members of her crew. Hail them, she ordered, her voice steady despite the rage building inside her. No response came from the alien vessel. They're charging weapons for another volley, reported the tactical officer. Park closed her eyes for a brief moment. When she opened them, her decision was made. Return fire. Target their weapons systems only. The Thunderchild retaliated, its rail guns and plasma cannons firing in precise patterns. Unlike the hegemony vessel's attack, the human targeting was surgical, aiming specifically at the weapon emplacements on the Eternal Vigilance *. But human weapons technology, while effective, operated differently than hegemony systems. The plasma bolts that were meant to disable the alien ship's weapons instead struck near its power core. A catastrophic chain reaction began. Commander Tak watched in horror as his ship's systems began to fail. What's happening? Their weapons. They're unlike anything we've encountered, Officer Rim reported, her voice shaking. They've triggered a cascade failure in our main power grid. Evacuate the ship, Tak ordered, but it was too late. The Eternal Vigilance exploded in a brilliant flash of light, expanding into a cloud of superheated gas and debris. Captain Park stared at the view screen, horrified by the complete destruction of the alien vessel. She had only wanted to disable their weapons, not destroy them entirely. Scan for survivors, she ordered. None detected, Captain, came the grim reply. The Thunderchild itself was badly damaged. Life support systems were failing on multiple decks. The engine room reported that faster-than-light travel would be risky but possible. Set course for Earth, Park commanded. Maximum safe speed. As the wounded ship limped away from the debris field, the captain recorded her log of the encounter. She knew this disastrous first contact would have serious implications for humanity's future in space. What she couldn't know was that a hegemony scout vessel had witnessed the final moments of the battle from a distance. It had already transmitted images of the Thunderchild and details of the Eternal Vigilance's destruction to Hegemony Central Command. 3 days later, the Hegemony Council met in emergency session. The final message from Commander Tak describing the deceptive and aggressive nature of the new species was played for all members. The vote was unanimous. These humans represented a clear danger to galactic peace. They would be classified as a dangerous species that must be contained or eliminated. A declaration of war was issued. The hegemony would marshal its forces, locate the human homeworld, and ensure that such a threat never endangered the galaxy again. And so began the great misunderstanding that would lead to years of conflict between humanity and the galactic hegemony. Intelligence Officer Kang sat alone in his dimly lit office aboard the hegemony space station Nexus 9. The glow from the holographic display cast blue shadows across his tired face. He had not slept properly in 3 days. On the screen before him, footage of another hegemony defeat played in slow motion. 3 hegemony cruisers, the Asterisk Relentless Pursuit Asterisk, the Asterisk Eternal Justice Asterisk, and the Asterisk Sovereign Will Asterisk, had been patrolling the outer rim of the Procyon system when they encountered the human vessel. The battle had lasted less than 15 minutes. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Assistant Officer Nari entered, carrying 2 steaming cups of stimulant. She placed one beside Kang and took a seat next to him. "Have you found anything new?" she asked, her voice low despite them being alone. Kang took a sip from his cup and nodded toward the screen. "Watch the entry point. There." He tapped a control and the footage rewound. Both officers leaned forward as the scene replayed. One moment, empty space. The next, a flash of blue light, and the human ship appeared, as if from nowhere. "It's the same ship again," Nari noted, her eyes widening in recognition. "The Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk." "Yes," Kang confirmed. 2 years since the first encounter, and they've somehow turned the damaged exploration vessel into... He gestured at the screen where the human ship was firing with deadly precision at the hegemony cruisers. Kang paused the footage when the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk came fully into view. The ship had changed dramatically from the first contact images. Its hull was now darker, almost black, with sections that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. Additional weapon ports lined its sides, and the engine section had been completely redesigned. "Our scans show materials we can't identify," Kang said, bringing up the analysis. "The hull absorbs most of our sensor suites, and the propulsion system." He shook his head in disbelief. "It doesn't match any known physics model in our database." Nari studied the frozen image. "How do they appear without warning? Our detection grid should have picked them up long before they reached our ships." Kang played the footage forward. "That's what worries the High Council most. Look here." The Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk fired at the first hegemony cruiser. The shots bypassed the ship's shields as if they weren't there, striking with surgical precision at the engine and weapon systems. The cruiser drifted, crippled but not destroyed. "They could have eliminated all 3 ships," Kang observed. "Instead, they disabled them and targeted only the weapons and propulsion systems. They wanted our crews alive." "But why?" Nari asked. "To send a message." Kang pulled up the communication logs. Before they left, they'd broadcast this to all 3 vessels. He played the audio. A calm, female voice spoke clearly in perfect hegemony standard language. "This is Captain Park of the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk. Your ships have been disabled, not destroyed. We have no desire for war, but we will defend our colonies. End this conflict, or next time, we won't be so merciful." "Captain Park," Nari whispered. "She survived the first contact incident." "Not only survived," Kang said grimly, "but she's adapted. Intelligence reports from captured human prisoners suggest her crew now calls her the Ghost." Kang stood and walked to the window overlooking the vast shipyards of Nexus 9. Below, thousands of workers scurried around new warships under construction, the hegemony's answer to the human threat. "I have to present these findings to the High Council in 1 hour," he said. "They won't like what I have to tell them." "Which is?" Nari asked. "That we've severely underestimated the humans. They're advancing their technology at a rate we've never seen before. What took our species centuries, they're accomplishing in years." The High Council chamber was silent as Kang finished his presentation. 12 council members, representatives of the founding species of the galactic hegemony, sat in a semicircle on raised platforms. Their expressions ranged from concern to outright fear. "So you're telling us," began Council Leader Suk, her voice echoing in the chamber, "that a single human ship has destroyed or disabled 17 hegemony vessels in the past month alone?" "Correct, Leader," Kang replied. "The Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk appears to be testing our defenses, probing for weaknesses. And how do they achieve this? Invisibility to our sensors?" asked Councillor Jun, The military representative. It's not invisibility in the traditional sense, Kang explained. Based on our analysis, they've developed a method of faster-than-light travel that doesn't leave the typical quantum wake we rely on for early detection. They simply appear. Impossible, Jum declared. No species has mastered such technology, not even the founders. The evidence suggests otherwise, Kang said firmly, displaying footage from 3 different battles. In each case, the Thunderchild appeared without warning, struck with devastating efficiency, and disappeared just as suddenly. Captain Park has modified her ship beyond our understanding, Kang reported to the High Council. The crew calls her the Ghost now. A murmur ran through the council members. What do our captured humans say about this vessel? Asked Councillor Hua, head of intelligence. Very little, Kang admitted. They seem genuinely unaware of the ship's capabilities. Most are colonists or crew from lesser vessels, but they all tell stories about the Thunderchild *. According to them, it's become something of a legend among their people. The legend? Sook looked skeptical. Yes, they say the Thunderchild * was transformed after the first contact incident. That Captain Park took the damaged vessel to a secret facility where it was rebuilt using technology recovered from studying hegemony wreckage. Some even claim she's incorporated alien technology from beyond the known galaxy. Superstitious nonsense, scoffed June. Perhaps, Kang conceded. But the stories serve a purpose. They boost human morale and spread fear among our forces. Fear. June sat straighter. The hegemony military does not fear a primitive species with a single advanced ship. With respect, Counselor, Kang said, the fear is real. In hegemony space, stories spread. The human warship that could appear anywhere. The thunderclap that preceded destruction. Thunderclap? Sook asked. Kang nodded. Before attacking, the Thunderchild * broadcasts a specific sound on all hegemony communication channels, the sound of thunder from the human homeworld. It's become a psychological weapon. By the time our crews hear it, it's already too late. 3 days later, at the remote hegemony outpost Sigma 7, Commander Dad was completing his evening report when the communication officer burst into his quarters. Commander, the young officer was pale, his hands shaking. We've received a transmission on all channels. I think you should hear it. Dave followed the officer to the command center. The small outpost, built into an asteroid at the edge of hegemony space, housed only 30 personnel. Their mission was simple: monitor this sector for any signs of human expansion. Play the message, Dad ordered. The officer activated the console. At first, there was only static. Then, a low rumbling sound filled the command center. It started quietly, then grew in intensity. A deep, rolling boom that seemed to shake the very walls. Every officer in the room froze. They all knew what it meant. Scan for ships, Dai shouted. Nothing on sensors, Commander, replied the sensor operator. Wait, there's something. A quantum disturbance forming 2,000 kilometers off our port side. Battle stations. Alert Hegemony Command immediately. But before anyone could move, the communications officer looked up from his console, his face drained of color. Commander, we've received a text message. Just 3 words. What does it say? Dai asked, though somehow he already knew. The officer swallowed hard before answering. We hear thunder. The lights in the command center flickered once, then went dark. Emergency lighting cast red shadows across the frightened faces of the crew. Outside, through the viewport, Dai watched as a black ship appeared against the starfield, its outline barely visible except where it blocked the distant stars. Commander Day sent one final desperate message to Hegemony Central Command before the outpost's communications system went silent. Sigma 7 was never heard from again. Admiral Wu stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Unyielding Fist *. His dark uniform was adorned with medals from 20 years of service to the hegemony. He gazed at the main view screen, where the remains of Outpost Sigma-7 floated in the emptiness of space. The once functional station was now just twisted metal and frozen debris. "Spread the fleet into search pattern Delta," he ordered. His voice was calm despite the tension that filled the bridge. "I want every piece of wreckage scanned." The Admiral had brought 30 ships to investigate Sigma-7's mysterious silence, the largest fleet assembled since the war with humans began 2 years ago. 20 warships, 5 carrier vessels with fighter squadrons, and 5 support ships formed a powerful armada under his command. "Sir," called Lieutenant Ba from the communications station, "all ships report ready for search operations." Admiral Wu nodded. "Proceed." The massive fleet separated into smaller groups, each tasked with examining different sections of the debris field. Wu had insisted on coming personally despite the High Council's concerns. 3 outposts had gone dark in the past month, and command suspected human involvement in each case. Science Officer Lee approached the Admiral's command chair, datapad in hand. She was young for her position, but her brilliance had earned her assignment to the flagship. "Admiral, preliminary scans show the outpost was not destroyed by conventional weapons," she reported. "There are no blast patterns consistent with explosives or energy weapons." Wu frowned. "What then?" "It appears the station was taken apart," Lee said, her voice betraying her confusion. "Precision cuts in the hull plating. Key systems removed. Almost surgical. Survivors." Lee shook her head. "No bodies found yet, sir. The escape pods are still in their bays, but they're empty." "They took prisoners," Wu muttered. This was a new development. Humans typically disabled hegemony vessels, but left the crews alone. Taking captives suggested they needed information. 4 hours into the search, the fleet had recovered nothing of value. No clues about what happened to the station crew, no indication of who was responsible. But Admiral Wu had not built his reputation on giving up easily. "Continue the search," he ordered as his officers suggested withdrawing. "Expand the scan perimeter by another 1,000 kilometers." As the ships moved to comply, Science Officer Lee suddenly stiffened at her console. Her fingers flew across the controls, rechecking the readings that had just appeared. "Sir," she called, her voice tight. "Quantum disruptions detected at the edge of our sensor range." The bridge crew grew tense. Everyone had heard the stories of how human ships appeared without warning. "Classification," Wu demanded. Lee analyzed the readings, her face growing pale. "Sir," she whispered, just loud enough for the Admiral to hear, "it matches the signature off." Before she could finish, the ship's communication system crackled. A deep, rolling rumble filled the bridge, starting low, then building to a bone-shaking crescendo. The sound of thunder. Every officer on the bridge froze. Some made religious gestures of protection. Others simply stared at each other in disbelief. "Multiple human vessels detected," Lee shouted, professionalism briefly overcoming her fear. 3 ships emerging from quantum space at coordinates 227 to 89,114. The view screen shifted to show the emerging vessels. In the center was a ship that every officer in the hegemony fleet knew by sight, sleek, dark-hulled, with blue energy pulsing along its length. The Thunderchild *. Flanking it were 2 larger vessels of similar design, but with heavier weapon emplacements. The first human battle group ever encountered in this sector. Genuine panic erupted across the bridge. 2 junior officers backed away from their stations. At the weapons console, 3 gunners simply abandoned their posts, rushing toward the exit. "Return to your stations immediately," Wu roared. His commanding voice stopped the fleeing crew members in their tracks. On the tactical display, Wu saw one of his support vessels, the Dutiful Provider *, break formation without orders and accelerate away from the human ships. Dutiful Provider *, resume formation immediately, Wu ordered over the fleet channel. "Unable to comply, Admiral," came the captain's frightened reply. "Engine overload. Cannot stop acceleration." Wu knew it was a lie. The captain was running in terror. Communications, mark that ship's commander for court-martial, Wu said coldly. Tactical, prepare targeting solutions on all human vessels. He rose from his command chair and walked to the center of the bridge where all his officers could see him. His posture was perfect, his expression determined. Listen to me, he said, his voice carrying to every corner of the bridge. We are 30 ships. They are 3. The Thunderchild may have a fearsome reputation, but it is just a ship built by mortal hands. It can be destroyed like any other. The officers straightened at his words, some of the fear leaving their eyes. Prepare for battle, Wu commanded. We outnumber them 10-1. Yes, Admiral. The bridge crew responded in unison. But in his private thoughts, Admiral Wu wondered if numbers would be enough. He had studied every encounter with the Thunderchild. In each case, the human vessel had prevailed against superior forces. Captain Park seemed to have an uncanny ability to turn disadvantages into victories. Sir, Lee reported, the human vessels are holding position. They've made no aggressive moves. Are they scanning us? Wu asked. No, sir. Their systems appear passive. This was unusual. In previous encounters, the Thunderchild struck quickly and decisively. They're waiting for us to make the first move, Wu realized aloud. Interesting. He considered his options. The tactical approach would be to surround the human ships with superior numbers. But the Thunderchild had escaped such traps before. Sir, his tactical officer suggested, we could send 10 ships to flank them while the main fleet engages from the front. No, Wu decided. That's what they expect. We will do something they won't anticipate. He turned to his communications officer. Open a channel to the Thunderchild. The bridge fell silent. No hegemony commander had attempted to communicate with the human ship since the war began. Channel open, sir, Lieutenant Bai reported after a moment. Admiral Wu straightened his uniform and faced the view screen. This is Admiral Wu of the Galactic Hegemony 3rd Fleet. I wish to speak with Captain Park of the UES Thunderchild. For several long moments, there was no response. The bridge crew held their breath. Then the view screen changed to show the bridge of the human vessel. A woman sat in the center chair. Her uniform was black with silver trim, different from the blue uniforms humans had worn during first contact. Her hair was cut short, and a scar ran across her left cheek that hadn't been there in the original intelligence files. Her eyes were what struck Wu most. They held the look of someone who had seen too much combat. This is Captain Park, she replied, her voice calm and measured. What can I do for you, Admiral? Wu was momentarily taken aback by her casual tone. You have violated hegemony space and destroyed one of our outposts. Surrender your vessels or be destroyed. Park's expression didn't change. We didn't destroy your outpost, Admiral. We came to investigate, just like you. You expect me to believe that? Wu scoffed. I don't expect you to believe anything without evidence, Park replied, which is why I'm transmitting our sensor logs from when we arrived. Your outpost was already in pieces. Something else got here before either of us. A data packet appeared on Science Officer Lee's console. She quickly scanned it, her eyes widening. Sir, she said quietly, these logs appear authentic, and they show energy signatures that don't match any known human or hegemony weapon. Before Wu could respond, tactical alarms blared across the bridge. New contacts, shouted the sensor operator. Multiple vessels emerging from behind the largest debris field. The view screen split to show a group of 7 ships unlike any Wu had seen before. They were organic in appearance, with hulls that seemed to pulse and shift like living tissue. Unknown classification, Lee reported, her voice shaking. Not human, not hegemony, not any species in our database. On the other half of the screen, Captain Park leaned forward in her chair. Admiral Wu, she said urgently, I suggest we postpone our disagreement. Neither of us knows what these ships are, but they destroyed your outpost, and they've just positioned themselves to attack both our fleets." As if to confirm her words, the alien vessels began to advance, spreading out into an attack formation. Admiral Wu faced a decision unlike any in his career: continue fighting the humans or join forces against this unknown threat. "Captain Park," he said after a moment's thought, "I propose a temporary alliance against these intruders." Park nodded once, her expression grim. "Agreed, Admiral. Let's show these newcomers what happens when they attack both our peoples." As the unknown vessels accelerated toward them, Wu turned to his crew. "Battle stations, form up alongside the human vessels." His officers stared at him in disbelief. "You heard me," he said firmly. "Today we hunt together." The morning star of Proxima Terminus burned crimson against the blackness of space. Its light bathed the assembled ships in an eerie red glow as they faced each other across the battlefield. The temporary alliance against the unknown organic vessels had held for 3 days. Together, human and hegemony forces had driven the strange attackers back to this remote star system. Now, with the mysterious enemy retreated beyond sensor range, the fragile truce was breaking. Admiral Wu stood on the bridge of the Asterisk, unyielding fist asterisk, watching as his fleet of 27 remaining ships arranged themselves in battle formation. The loss of 3 vessels to the organic ships had done nothing to diminish his confidence. "All ships report ready, Admiral," announced his first officer. Wu nodded, his expression determined. "The humans have served their purpose. They helped us defeat a common enemy. Now it is time to complete our original mission." Across the void, the 3 human vessels held position near a small moon. The Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk was flanked by its sister ships, the Asterisk Defiant Asterisk and the Asterisk Indomitable Asterisk. Their dark hulls absorbed the red starlight, making them look like shadows against space itself. "Standard attack pattern," Wu ordered. His fleet began to move, spreading into a classic hegemony envelopment formation designed to trap and overwhelm the enemy. As the hegemony ships advanced, all communication channels suddenly activated. Captain Park's voice filled every bridge across the fleet. "Admiral Wu, this is Captain Park of the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk. Your fleet is on an attack vector. Reverse course immediately. This is your only warning." Several officers on Wu's bridge exchanged nervous glances. The Asterisk Thunderchild's asterisk reputation had only grown during the battle with the organic ships. They had all witnessed its impossible maneuvers and devastating weapon accuracy. "Maintain course," Wu commanded. "She's bluffing. No 3 ships, no matter how advanced, can defeat our fleet." The distance between the forces closed rapidly. Wu's tactical display showed his ships perfectly positioned, a net of firepower ready to close around the human vessels. "Attack range in 30 seconds, reported the weapons officer. "Prepare to fire on my command," Wu ordered. But something unexpected happened. As the hegemony fleet approached, the 3 human ships suddenly separated. The Asterisk Defiant Asterisk accelerated up relative to the plane of battle. The Asterisk Indomitable Asterisk dove down. And the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk, the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk, did something no hegemony tactical officer had ever seen. It accelerated directly toward the center of the hegemony formation at impossible speed, then began a spinning maneuver that scattered debris from Sigma-7 in all directions. The debris cloud created sensor interference across the hegemony fleet. "They're executing Maneuver Sigma," shouted Wu's tactical officer, panic evident in his voice. "The spinning attack from the Battle of Arcturus." "Impossible," Wu replied, his confidence wavering for the first time. "No ship can sustain those G-forces. The crew would be crushed." The tactical display showed the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk accelerating to speeds that should have turned any biological crew into paste against the bulkheads. Yet it moved with precision and purpose, its trajectory bringing it through the heart of Wu's formation. "Intercept it," Wu commanded. 6 hegemony cruisers adjusted course to trap the Thunderchild. They fired in unison, energy weapons creating a web of destruction no normal ship could navigate. The Thunderchild danced through the barrage, its hull occasionally flaring blue where glancing hits were absorbed by some unknown defense system. It returned fire with short, precise bursts that struck the hegemony ships at their most vulnerable points. One cruiser's engines exploded, sending it tumbling out of formation. Another lost all power, its lights flickering out as it drifted helplessly. A third spun away, venting atmosphere from multiple hull breaches. "How are they targeting so precisely through the debris field?" demanded Wu. "Unknown, sir," replied his science officer. "Their targeting systems exceed our understanding." Meanwhile, the Defiant and Indomitable had completed their maneuvers, positioning themselves at the perfect angles to fire upon the now scattered hegemony formation. Their attacks were synchronized with the Thunderchild's movements, creating a three-dimensional battlefield where the humans held every advantage. 7 hegemony ships lost in 3 minutes, reported the first officer, disbelief in his voice. Wu watched as his perfect formation dissolved into chaos. Ships fired at shadows in the debris field. Others collided trying to avoid the Thunderchild's attack runs. Fear had replaced discipline across his fleet. "This isn't possible," Wu muttered. "We outnumber them 9-1 even after our losses." "Sir, the Righteous Fury and Stellar Judgment are retreating without orders," called the communications officer. Before Wu could respond, his flagship shuddered violently. Warning klaxons blared as damage reports flooded in. "Direct hit to our main power coupling," shouted the engineering officer. "Weapons offline. Shields at 20%. On the view screen, Wu watched as the Thunderchild pivoted with impossible grace and accelerated toward his crippled flagship. Its weapons ports glowed, ready to deliver the killing blow. Then, to everyone's surprise, the human vessel powered down its weapons and came to a relative stop directly in front of the unyielding fist. "Incoming transmission," announced the communications officer. Captain Park's face appeared on the view screen. Unlike before, she now wore a combat helmet, and Wu could see her bridge crew working frantically behind her. Whatever technology allowed their incredible maneuvers, it wasn't without cost to the humans operating it. "Admiral Wu," Park said, her voice steady despite the visible strain on her face. "This battle is over. 17 of your ships are disabled. 2 have fled. The rest are outmatched. Surrender your fleet, and no more lives need be lost today." Wu's first instinct was to refuse. No hegemony admiral had ever surrendered to an inferior force. But as he looked at the tactical display, he saw the truth. His remaining ships were scattered, damaged, or surrounded. The human vessels, though few, controlled the battlefield completely. "How?" he asked simply. "How is this possible?" Park's expression softened slightly. "We never wanted this war, Admiral. But when it was forced upon us, we adapted. Humans have always excelled at that." Wu nodded slowly. "I offer my surrender, Captain Park. The remaining hegemony vessels will stand down." 5 light minutes away, Intelligence Officer Kang watched the battle through the long-range sensors of his stealth observation vessel. The High Council had assigned him to monitor Admiral Wu's mission, though he had been ordered not to interfere. Now, as he witnessed the complete defeat of a superior hegemony force, something clicked in his analytical mind. A pattern emerged from all his observations of human behavior. "I understand now," he whispered to himself. His assistant, Officer Nari, looked up from her console. "Understand what, sir?" "The humans," Kang replied, his eyes fixed on the sensor display where the Thunderchild now hovered protectively over the surrendered hegemony flagship. "We've been misrating them from the beginning." He pulled up the historical data from the first contact incident, comparing it with subsequent encounters. "Look at their response patterns," he said, highlighting key events. When we approached peacefully during first contact, they responded in kind. When we attacked, they defended themselves but limited casualties. When we launched full-scale assaults on their colonies, they began hitting our military targets with increasing effectiveness. Neri studied the data. What are you saying? Humans aren't naturally aggressive. They're responding to threats. Kang explained, the realization crystallizing in his mind. Their technological advancement isn't driven by conquest, but by necessity. When cornered, they become unstoppable because they focus all their creative energy on survival. He closed the display and turned to Nari. The High Council needs to hear this. We've been fighting this war all wrong. The more we threaten the humans, the more dangerous they become. As their stealth ship turned to begin the long journey back to hegemony space, Kang took one last look at the sensor readings from Proxima Terminus. The Thunderchild was now coordinating rescue operations for the damaged hegemony vessels, sending medical teams to help the injured. Fascinating, he murmured. Even in victory, they show restraint. For the first time since the war began, Kang felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps there was a path to peace after all, if the hegemony was wise enough to take it. The unyielding fist drifted silently through space, emergency lights casting an eerie red glow across its damaged hull. Admiral Wu stood by the shattered viewscreen where jagged cracks spread like a web across the once pristine surface. Repair crews worked frantically around him, trying to restore basic life support systems. Damage report, he requested, his voice hoarse from the smoke that still lingered on the bridge. His first officer looked up from a flickering console. Main power core offline. Engines destroyed. Weapons systems completely disabled. Life support functioning at minimal capacity on emergency power. Wu nodded grimly. His once proud flagship, the mightiest vessel in the hegemony's third fleet, was now little more than a floating wreck. Casualties. 27 confirmed dead. 45 injured. Medical bay is overwhelmed. The Admiral closed his eyes briefly. Each death weighed on him. He had led his people into this battle, confident in their superior numbers and firepower. Now most of his fleet was destroyed or disabled. "Sir," called the communications officer, "we're receiving a transmission from the human vessel." "Put it through," Wu ordered. The emergency screen flickered to life, showing the bridge of the Thunderchild*. It was in no better condition than his own. Panels sparked in the background. Several crew members were being treated for injuries. Captain Park sat in her command chair, a bandage wrapped around her head, blood seeping through the white fabric. "Admiral," Captain Park's voice came through, distorted by static. "This war began with a misunderstanding. Let's end it with clarity." Wu studied her face. There was no triumph there, no gloating over her victory. Only exhaustion and a quiet determination. "What do you propose, Captain?" he asked cautiously. "A meeting, face to face. No weapons, no guards. Just you and me, talking directly. No translation algorithms, no diplomatic filters." Wu raised an eyebrow in surprise. "You speak hegemony standard?" Park nodded. "I've been learning since our first encounter. I believe much of this conflict stems from misinterpreted words and intentions." The Admiral considered the offer. It was unprecedented. No human had ever set foot on a hegemony vessel by invitation. Yet, what did he have to lose? His fleet was defeated. His mission failed. "Very well," he agreed. "Our docking bay is still functional." 30 minutes later, a small shuttle from the Thunderchild approached the unyielding fist. Wu waited in the docking bay, having dismissed his honor guard despite their protests. He had changed from his battle-damaged uniform into a formal diplomatic attire, symbolizing the nature of this meeting. The shuttle landed softly on the deck. Its door opened, and Captain Park stepped out alone. She too had changed, wearing a simple black uniform with silver trim that bore no weapons or rank insignia. She carried only a small data tablet. They faced each other, these two commanders who had been mortal enemies just hours before. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Wu bowed slightly, a gesture of respect between equals. "Captain Park, welcome aboard the Asterisk, unyielding fist Asterisk." Park returned the bow perfectly, in the exact manner of hegemony custom. "Admiral Wu, thank you for receiving me." He led her to a small conference room adjacent to the docking bay. The ship's damage was less severe here, though emergency lighting still cast long shadows across the walls. When they were seated across from each other, Park spoke in perfect, unaccented hegemony standard. "I believe it's time we talked honestly about how this war began, and how it might end. You've studied our language well," Wu noted, impressed despite himself. "I studied everything about the hegemony I could access," she replied. "Your history, your customs, your species. I wanted to understand who we were fighting and why." "And what have you learned?" he asked. "That we are more alike than different," Park said simply. "Both protective of our people, both proud of our achievements, both fearful of threats to our way of life." She activated her tablet, displaying the recording of the first contact between the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk and the Asterisk Eternal Vigilance Asterisk. "This is where it began," she said. "A mistake in translation. When we said, 'We stand ready,' your people interpreted it as a threat. And when you raised your shields," Wu began. "A standard procedure during first contact," Park finished. "Not an aggressive act, just a precaution." They watched in silence as the tragedy unfolded on the screen. The hegemony vessel firing first, the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk defending itself, the Asterisk Eternal Vigilance Asterisk being destroyed. "We never wanted war," Park explained, her voice quiet but intense. "We wanted to join the galactic community, to learn from other species, to share knowledge." Wu was silent for a long moment. Then he admitted something he had never said aloud before. "We feared what we didn't understand. Your species advanced so quickly. In the span of a single hegemony generation, you went from primitive planetary dwellers to interstellar travelers. Adaptation is our strength," Park said. "When faced with challenges, humans innovate. When threatened, we unite. The more the hegemony attacked us, the more we focused our collective intelligence on defense. Like the modifications to your ship," Wu observed. Park nodded. "After the first attack, we realized we were technologically outmatched. So we studied the wreckage of the Asterisk Eternal Vigilance Asterisk. We learned. We adapted your technology to our needs, and created a vessel that could defeat an entire hegemony fleet," Wu concluded. "Not without cost," Park said grimly. "The maneuvers we executed today pushed human physiology to its limits. 3 of my crew died from the G-forces, despite our inertial dampeners. 5 more may not recover from their injuries." Wu's eyes widened. "You sacrifice your own people to win." "They volunteered," Park corrected him. "They knew the risks. They believed ending this war was worth it." For the first time, Wu truly understood what they were facing. Not mindless aggressors, but beings of tremendous will and sacrifice. "What do you want, Captain?" he asked finally. "Peace," she answered without hesitation. "Recognition of human territory, a non-aggression pact. Eventually, perhaps, alliance and cooperation. The High Council will resist," Wu warned. "Many still view humans as a threat." "Then help them understand," Park urged. "You've seen us in battle. You know what we're capable of. But you've also seen that we don't seek conquest. When we disabled your ships today, we could have destroyed them. We chose not to." 1 month later, Intelligence Officer Kang stood before the Hegemony High Council. Behind him, a holographic display showed the Battle of Proxima Terminus from multiple angles. The 12 council members watched with solemn expressions as the Asterisk Thunderchild Asterisk danced through the hegemony formation, disabling ship after ship with surgical precision. "As you can see," Kang concluded, Admiral Wu's fleet was completely defeated despite outnumbering the human vessels 9-1. "This is disturbing information, Officer Kang," said Council Leader Suk. "What are your recommendations?" Kang took a deep breath. What he was about to say would be controversial, perhaps even career-ending. But after weeks of analysis, he was certain of his conclusions. "Humans don't seek conquest," he stated firmly. "They defend. When threatened, they become formidable not through superior technology, but through sheer determination and adaptability." He displayed the data he had gathered from every encounter with humans since first contact. Each time we escalated the conflict, they responded with greater innovation. The Thunderchild began as a simple exploration vessel. Our attacks transformed it into the most formidable warship this galaxy has seen. "You suggest we surrender to these primitives," scoffed Counselor Jun. "I suggest we make peace while we still can," Kang replied evenly. "Admiral Wu's report indicates the humans desire cooperation, not domination. This is an opportunity, not a defeat." After hours of debate, the Council reached a decision. A ceasefire was declared. Diplomatic channels were opened. The war that had begun with a misunderstanding would end with dialogue. 5 years later, Instructor Kang stood before a class of young cadets at the Hegemony Academy. The classroom windows overlooked the capital city, where a new building stood, the Human Embassy, its architecture blending Earth designs with hegemony aesthetics. "Today we begin our study of human history and culture," Kang announced. "Understanding our new allies is crucial for future officers." A young cadet raised her hand. "Instructor, is it true you fought against humans in the war?" "I never fought directly," Kang clarified. "I was an intelligence officer. I studied them." "And what did you learn?" asked another cadet. Kang smiled slightly. "I learned that appearances can be deceiving, that translation errors can lead to tragedy, that assumptions about other species can prove dangerously wrong." The cadets listened attentively, taking notes on their tablets. These young officers would be the first generation to serve alongside humans in joint missions. Another hand rose. "Instructor Kang, what makes humans different from other species we've encountered?" Kang thought about the question for a moment, remembering the footage of the Thunderchild standing against impossible odds. He recalled Captain Park's words to Admiral Wu, which had become part of the official peace accords. "When humans must fight," he answered simply, "the galaxy trembles. But when humans make friends, the galaxy prospers." He turned to the view screen, where an image appeared of a new vessel under construction in the orbital shipyards, a massive ship built through human and hegemony cooperation, designed for exploration rather than war. "Remember this lesson, cadets," Kang concluded. "The greatest victory isn't destroying your enemy. It's turning your enemy into an ally." Outside the academy windows, a human delegation arrived at the embassy. Leading them was an older woman with short gray hair and a faded scar across her left cheek. Captain Park, now Ambassador Park. Her days of battle behind her, but her determination unchanged. The war that had begun with thunder now gave way to the clear skies of peace.